What is going on, everybody? Here we are, another episode of In This Very Ring, live right here on abuzz.com. As always, I am the one, the only. Apparently, we have Star Wars showing up here. Great. I'm Ritz. Got my man Butters right there. Yeesh. And joining us from Lazy Booking and Birds of a Feather, the man himself, one half of the Ginger Gang, Heel Chrome. Chrome, what's going on, my man?
Not much, fellas. Good to be with you guys tonight.
Thank you for joining us. I know you guys just did a special Week 1 preview just about less than half an hour ago. Guys, if you missed it, check it out tomorrow before the Eagles-Washington game right there on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Speaker, and all your other podcast services. All the shows here at HD Radio, including this one, are brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Check them out on the web at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. Dr. Paul Vidal and his staff at their 3 locations in Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey, all here to help you out throughout this entire thing, whether it's virtually or in office. Also, Michael Ambrose and the Ambuck Services, guys at Ambuck Services, for your gutter and deck restoration. They are the experts in South Jersey. Give them a call at 856-879-5530. Give them a call before the winter, because we don't have winter out here. So this whole winter thing just eludes me. So give them a call before snow, and well, you're screwed. All right. Topic of conversation brought to you by QB54, the best tailgating game in the business. Whether you're tailgating at the stadium, if that's still a thing, or you're tailgating on your block, they are the best tailgating game out there. Alexa Bliss's obsession with The Fiend is the best thing happening on Smackdown. Agree, disagree. We always throw it to – we're good hosts here, so we throw it to the guest, Mr. Heel Chrome himself. Chrome, lay it on me, brother.
I'm going to disagree. Simply for the fact of we do have everything going on right now with Roman Reigns coming back and the evolution of his heel turn and relationship with Paul Heyman. Really tough for me to say that it's the best thing going on SmackDown right now. What I will say, though, is it is very intriguing. And I know we were going to talk about it later, Andy, but obviously the Mandy Rose Otis experiment is gone at this point. A moot point, which I'm okay with. I think it's ran its course at this point.
I don't think it is. We'll get to that later, but
I can't wait for this fight.
We can dive in. Well, but again, I would disagree because I definitely, I'm not a fan of how it started. I'm a fan of how it first started at SummerSlam. Then I was not a fan at Payback. But I'm getting back on board with the Roman heel turn at this point, and I'm very intrigued. And I love the addition of Jey Uso into the storyline to kick it off. I'm going to disagree at this point.
Butters?
Yeah, I've got to disagree because, honestly, with me, I feel like it's the Roman Reigns things to do is a whole lot better. Agreeing with Chrome here.
For now.
I know. I know. It's a hard pill to swallow, but, got to do it every once in a while.
Well, you got to be right sometimes, buddy.
But no, it is a good story.
Put it away. Oh, no.
All this for you, ladies.
Yeah.
Trying to scare people away 4 minutes into the show, buddy? Come on.
Dude, getting rid of our peoples.
It's a learning curve. You were saying,
I lost track of thought, but sure. It's a don't get me wrong, I like the whole Alexa Bliss segment. I like the whole Bray Wyatt Alexa Bliss thing going on, but best, nah. I'll stick with Roman. I'll be the Roman mark. I'll stick with the Roman segment. Jey Uso being in there is amazing. Gives him something to do while his brother's out.
Yeah, all right. So me being me, I'm going to take the minority here, and I'm going to agree, right? I'm agree for an argument's sake for one reason. And one reason.
No.
I think
You're gonna agree because it's Alexa Bliss.
Partially. I mean, the people are with me. The people are with me.
Just doesn't know anything about wrestling aside from Alexa Bliss. So,
hey, I'll take it. I will take it. I got Chuck to comment on my show. I'm all for it. But right, there's so much more creativity and there's so much more. I don't want to say fantasy. Fantasy is the wrong word here, but imagination, right? That plays into this. And for me, being the nerd and kind of the realm that the stuff that I do on a weekly basis, the stuff that I watch, whether it's all the Batman and all the superhero stuff, or it's just cartoons as a whole, because I'm a child at heart, right? For me, there's more there. There's more me saying, all right, where are they going to go next with this? The Roman thing, for me, I kind of see how it's playing out. I do love Jey Uso being involved. I really do. I think it's going to add that new level of that new depth to the story. But this thing with Alexa, it's something different. It's something we've never really seen for a character.
You sure about that? Because I'm feeling like we've seen stuff like this before. In general,
not to this degree, though. Not to this. Oh,
Impact Wrestling is doing the exact same storyline in reverse by taking Su Yung and turning her into Susie.
Wait,
it's the exact same storyline.
I can't lie.
In reverse.
I don't watch Impact Wrestling anymore.
I understand that, but I'm saying it's not. I'm not. I'm going to let you finish your point, but I just want to say that I'm not saying it's not intriguing, because it is.
Right.
But I got to pump the brakes on that. We've never seen anything like this before, because this has been done.
Okay, so I've never seen anything like this before. Let me.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
It's hard to find something original in wrestling these days, because a lot of it has been done. So it's kind of hard to say it hasn't been done before.
Well, wrestling is a program of parody.
Right, it is, but also go back to it's. I hate the analogy, but it works too. It's a male soap opera. Look at soap operas as a whole, right? Soap operas, TV dramas. You're bound to repeat. Movies in Hollywood, right? How many reboots do we have? I mean, hell, there was just a Mulan movie that came out. It's a reboot of a movie from 20 years ago.
Without the music.
And Mushu. Where's Chucks? Bring Chucks back here. But no.
My wife would say the same thing. Where's Mushu?
They dishonor on their cow. There's Chucks. But no, right? Back to the Alexa Bliss Bray Wyatt thing. It's such a callback for me to Harley Quinn and Joker and that whole story. And I think because I am such a huge Batman fan, I have to I gravitate towards that, because that's what I want to. That's what I see it paralleling so much is Harleen Quinzel, the Joker, all of that, and I want to see how they play it out, because it's the one thing in live action I've never really seen played out. I can kind of attach any storyline to something I've seen in live action that I've seen in a comic book, right? But this for me is what I'm enjoying watching on SmackDown right now.
Yeah, I understand that. When I'm answering the poll question, I'm looking at more of on a national scale, right? Yes, Frank, by the way. And a lot of the Impact talent has gotten signed by big companies. So, but I'm answering this on more of an overall scale, right? What's gonna get more eyes? What's gonna intrigue people? I think Raymond Rivera commented as well. We're glossing over. We finally did get the breakup of the Golden Role Models, which, I knock it down a peg because it took a long ass time to get there. But I'll tell you what.
That's to say, how many weeks have we been talking about them?
Well,
every
we've been Butters. I've been talking about this since probably before In This Very Ring was even on A2D, and that's a long ass time.
That is a long time.
It has been.
We just crossed like a 2-year mark, like 3 weeks ago or something like that.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but to me, we talked about it, right? Wrestling is a program of parody, right? It's like originality is very difficult to come across. However, you can retread other things that have been done if you can find an original niche to it. Now, I will say, with the character of the Fiend, that is something we've never seen. That is intriguing. I can't say that Alexa Bliss looks like she did when she first came up. And we also saw Liv Morgan, who joining the Riot Squad seemed to be a very odd fit initially, but she did a Harley Quinn type of a character as well.
Oh, I remember.
So even in just WWE, the character has not been unoriginal even over the last 3 to 4 years. It's it is intriguing. I enjoyed how they presented it this week. But I think it's a stretch to say it's the most intriguing thing. It could become that as it goes along. I think it's one of the must-see storylines to follow right now, not just in WWE, but all of pro wrestling. If you're a mainstream wrestling fan, but it's not unoriginal. Original would be not parodying Harley Quinn and The Fiend. But it's even tough to say that because, how then do you do original? Do you make her more of like the Sister Abigail we expected to see? Oh, well, we already kind of saw that with Rosemary in Impact.
Yes. Yeah. I remember Rosemary.
Yeah, and even if you're not an Impact fan, most people know who she is because of the uniqueness of that character. So it's going to be an interesting road to see where Alexa as a performer takes it. I just find it very, very difficult. And Tom's damn right, by the way, with that comment that just popped up.
He's talking about me.
Yeah, no, he's not. I was giving us all credit, but I'll take your credit back. But no, I think I know you're a fan. I think you're fanboying out a little bit.
I am a little.
And I'm
not gonna lie.
And I'm a fan too. I got to answer it from what do I think is intriguing on a national scale. Roman Reigns being a heel, that pulls eyes. People know who Roman Reigns is on the mainstream now. I think that right now, people know about the leukemia and other issues that he's had. I think that draws more attention and will be interesting to see how they twist that.
Butter's getting a shout out from the boss.
Listen, boss. I know.
It's the boss.
First of all, I love Dad, but he's either had one too many of those freaking energy drinks, or Mellow Yellows, or he's just out of his goddamn mind, and now I'm concerned about everything we just.
What the hell? Oh my God! Oh wow! I'm not mayor. No.
Now I'm concerned about all the points he may have made on the Eagles show, because if he's out of his damn mind that much, I don't know how much credibility
we got. Did he say anything outlandish?
Well, it didn't seem it, but if he's going to make statements like that, I love you, Dad. You know that.
Oh God, we love it when the boss chimes in.
Dynamite drop in.
Thanks for the legend. I can see him pounding back 1 or 3 on the show earlier. And so you touched on something though, right? You say we gloss over the breakup of the Golden Role Models. I don't think we necessarily gloss over it. It's the actual breakup is such in an infancy stage that with Sasha Banks coming back to being advertised for SmackDown this week as her return, right? Bayley's promo last night, it's still in that baby stage. It does have a potential to be something very, very good. right? But I don't think it will top anything.
Whoa! Wait a minute!
So hold on. First, was it about Tom's comment or what I
No,
said?
this is about what you said.
Okay.
This is about what you said. Did you literally just say that the Sasha Bailey breakup is in its infancy stage?
So I tried to, and it's probably my feeling, right? I'm saying the actual breakup, right? We've seen the build up to it, everything like that. The last, however, God blessed long that was.
Well,
Like,
the Alexa
that
Bliss,
was the infancy.
The Alexa Bliss thing right now is in its infancy stage because all we've
been
done
going longer than this.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, it has.
Austin Bailey's been going on for 3 years. Are you
No.
kidding me?
No.
Alexa Bliss.
Hey, wait, stop. Wait, hold on.
Into the sky for 2 weeks. It's in its infancy. They haven't even put her with the Fiend yet. You got one move, and it was a friggin' Sister Abigail. It's in its infancy stage, Andy. It's in its infancy stage.
Grove, you're cutting in and out, man. Like half of that promo came through it, half of it didn't.
No.
You had Alexa Bliss staring off into the sky a couple of times, and she did one move. And you're going to tell me that's less than an infancy stage than Sasha and Bailey? You're out of your goddamn
actual breakup.
Well, you haven't even gotten the actual union between the Fiend and Alexa.
Yes, you did.
You actually got the breakup. No, you didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, you didn't. How many times are you going to show clips?
God
damn it. Let's talk for a second, okay? Before we show more clips.
That little caress wasn't a Bond?
Stop it, dude. You're out of your mind.
I can't keep it up anymore. I can't. I'm sorry. I can't keep it up anymore.
That's what he said to her?
Shut up.
I hope that you're just kidding because that was the most ridiculous comment
I am. I just really wanted to see if I could get you fired up.
Oh, I've been going. I got energy out the ass, man. I'm good to go.
Frank chiming in. Time for a new mic.
No, it's just the laughing and the clips jumping over me.
No. See, all jokes aside, though, when you first started getting fired up, you were like all the way back here, and then your volume was all kind of screwed up.
I'll stay closer. I'm right here.
Corey chiming in. What's up, fellas? I want a Firefly. I want a Funhouse faction. Fiend, Bliss, and Strowman.
I don't need Strowman.
The only thing I like about the Funhouse right now is Wobbly Walrus. Just kidding. Paul Heyman's
weird. What a disappointment that was.
Bro, no,
I would have preferred a parrot over the walrus.
They're being played. First time on here, Crow.
Well, it tells me that my mic is muted when you keep playing them.
Yeah, but I think you.
Yeah, it does the same thing. Yeah, but you gotta. All the clips are muted.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, it's my first time at the helm. Give me a break.
You're good. You're doing a good job.
You keep going, it'll be your last time. No, I'm just kidding.
No.
Butter's almost fired you off your own show.
I want to see you try this. Go ahead.
That's true.
Go ahead.
I'd love to see it too.
Good. I can barely drive. I can barely drive a forklift. I'm good.
Not touching that comment at all.
But no. I mean, the whole Firefly Funhouse segment. I would have rather seen a parrot than that walrus that can't talk. Or I'm sorry, AKA Paul Heyman.
Yeah, the walrus thing was weird.
Yeah.
Hey,
I thought. God.
I mean, the puppet Vince said that's good shit.
We did get that, which I love when we get that. I just thought it was real weird with the walrus. I mean, we all understood exactly what they were getting to, but I mean, maybe I'm in the minority, guys. I thought we were going to get something that was Alexa related.
I did too.
whether it would be actual Alexa showing up or a puppet that would tease it. I maybe that's why I was underwhelmed by it. But we'll get there. I guess when we get to there, it's still in its infancy stage. So
I mean, unless he's going to end up turning Alexa into a puppet.
See, but that's what I thought. I honestly thought that Alexa was going to be puppetized in some way, shape, or form. Or you were going to see the Sister Abigail puppet kind of dressed a little bit more like Alexa, like something Alexa related. Because correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't catch the show in its full entirety, so I caught it in different pieces. Did that happen before or after the Firefly?
After. Oh, no, that happened before the Firefly Funhouse.
Okay, so yeah, that would have made perfect sense then.
Right, which is why I was thrown by it, because I thought for sure that was the route they were going.
Because, I mean, he could use the whole turn her into a puppet, and then when he wants to use her, unpuppetize her and use her and then put her back as a puppet again. I mean, as goofy as it sounds, it's still a Bray Wyatt fiend-esque thing to do.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think we could all kind of agree that of all the people that have gone and changed post Bray Wyatt, this one's been the most intriguing and almost borderline drastic change that we've seen. Braun's is just really him turning heel and going back to what he did when he first debuted, right? Alexa's character change.
Yup.
Corey also chimes in. Bliss and Strowman are already tied together along with the Fiend. Put it together like an oddities thing. Oh my God, what a callback though!
No,
oddities in years. They were a mess.
No,
I don't see Strowman being any part of that anymore.
He doesn't need it. He was just a world heavyweight or the WWE Universal Champion. He doesn't need to play second fiddle to anybody at this point. Even if it's just mid-card determined for him here on out, he doesn't need it. If anything, Strowman is a leader of a faction if that ever happens. I think that WWE has opportunities for factions. We've talked about that. I think till we're blue in the face on this program, on our program, Lazy Booking. Something with The Fiend or Bray Wyatt, who is standalone, phenomenal, and doesn't need anybody else, unless you add an Alexa type like that to give a different dynamic. We don't need to go back to the Wyatt family. There's other opportunities of factions in this company.
And I think as factions go, I think they really have enough to do what they need to do, right? Between the Hurt Business, between UE, between, I guess you could call Angel Garza, Andrade. Well, no, because they lost Austin Theory. But whatever that was a small little faction at the time.
I don't even think you could call that a faction.
Well, it was when they had Austin Theory.
Yeah, no, it was a faction. I mean, factions by design are, and there are exceptions to the rule, like the Four Horsemen, the NWO, which also became too much.
Yes. Factions
are designed to create opportunities. Look at the Generation X, right? I mean, they were a faction. They weren't really a faction when it was Shawn Michaels and Triple H. It was a tag team. That's essentially what they were. They went up against a faction in the Hart Foundation. But a faction is more so designed to be led by somebody that's a major star and to create opportunity. We saw it happen with Evolution. But factions at that point, once those people start to bud or the cream rises to the top or the people that don't succeed sink, they're disbanded. The Generation X, they were a faction that lasted up until Triple H hit that point where he was ready to be the guy.
Yep.
And then for all intents and purposes, for any incarnation they had after that, it was never the Generation X. It was never the faction. And then same thing.
Shawn and Triple H. It was a tag team.
Right. And same thing here. I think people look at things like the Bullet Club and all that. And guess what? How many leaders did the Bullet Club have? over time.
Too damn many.
And when guys got to a certain point, they went off on their own. Now, those factions in New Japan is kind of based off of a lot of factions. And AEW is kind of going the same route. And what is the big gripe with AEW? Everybody's in a faction. Everyone has a faction. And it's actually to the point where it dilutes the programming.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the issue here. You know, you have Undisputed Era. You have Retribution going right now. I'm sure there's other factions I can't think of off the top of my head right now. The Hurt Business, the New Day, when they're all there, is a faction. You know, there's enough of that at this point that you don't want to dilute the programming and pigeonhole a lot of these stars.
Well, see, like you bring up AEW and all their factions, it almost feels like, and we're a sports company here, it's almost like a league, right? You're joining a league and you have to sign with a team right away. That's what it feels like. But
it's a fair point.
And with teams, you get your breakout stars like a Carson Wentz, like a Fletcher Cox, or somebody like that are notable names that everybody knows of. But then you have other names that just kind of exist, right? They just sit there, like God bless. I wouldn't even know where to begin. That's my point, right? I wouldn't even know where to begin. So that's what it feels like when you watch AEW. Is you have the Nightmare Family, you've got the Dark Order, you've got whatever the hell's going on over here and over there, and
you got like Best Friends in Orange Cassidy. You have
Jericho's faction,
the Inner Circle.
The Inner Circle, the Lucha Bros are with Eddie Kingston now, and with the Butcher and the Blade, and you have FTR. Now they're talking about reprising a Four Horsemen faction. You have the Elite, the faction of AEW.
Yeah,
everyone is in a freaking faction. It's ridiculous.
Nobody stands out on their own on that show,
right? And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
There has to be a middle, and that's where I knock Vince. But it's also where I kind of understand some of it. It's that Vince doesn't believe in factions because it dilutes everything. Because you have to have single stars to push a company. You can't build a company off of factions. You need people to be the face, to be the top stars. There has to be individual stars. Now, there's not enough tag teams. That's why it's so funny the way all these companies like WWE. I don't know if I froze there for a second. You have WWE has, a better singles roster. Am I good now?
Yeah, you're better now.
Okay. WWE has a better singles roster. It has a better women's division. But AEW has the better tag team division. I mean, AEW is head and shoulders above almost anybody else as far as the tag team division. It's so deep. But again,
I think that's why we bring up how the tag team division is lackluster. I truly think that at Night of Champions, you're going to see the Street Profits versus Shinsuke and Cesaro. We're going to merge the tag titles, and we're going to go back to one big tag team brand, which opens up a plethora of opportunity for a lot of stars. But it also damages that division, because look what we're doing with the women. The women have you have one tag titles for the entire division, but they're not really doing anything with it.
But how do you have a draft in October if you're going to go to one set of tag titles? If you're still drafting, you're still got the brand extension going on. How are you going to have a brand extension? I understand the women's because they don't have enough women's tag teams. They've got plenty of men's tag teams.
Well, no, but
they don't.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
They could. They just don't. Vince doesn't want to.
But as soon as Sasha and Bayley lost the women's tag titles, they immediately went back to SmackDown. We stopped seeing Sasha trying to fight for the Raw title, right? As soon as they lost that, as soon as Sasha lost the Raw title, she got her ass right back to the blue brand. It'd be no different. Let's say let's say in that scenario, the Street Profits win the titles. All right, draft comes, they stay on Raw, everything like that. Fast forward to Survivor Series, they drop the titles to Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. Right?
Who are on Raw, by the way.
Let's say they go to SmackDown for my argument. Thank you. I just picked two people. Street Profits go to SmackDown, right? And so when Cedric and Shelton beat them, Street Profits go back to SmackDown and stay where they belong.
Exactly.
It's no different than the women's titles. And then we would see Chuckles and Giggles bounce around between the two shows or the three shows or however the case may be. Well, no, they'd say two because the NXT tag titles still exist. Right.
For now.
But NXT actually has things they're doing down there with Imperium, with UE. I think it's empty.
I wouldn't.
But yeah, with Imperium, with UE. I'm blanking on other specific tag team names right off the top of my head. But again, they're doing things that are okay down there. Right? The main roster's where it needs help with tag team divisions. Ted saying they broke up the Iconics on a silly gimmick, not even a storyline. There's another tag team that got the axe, essentially. But I get it, right? It's gonna pay off into something for Peyton Royce.
I was going to say they just need to push Peyton to the moon now at this point, because we all know Billy Kay's never going to get that push that Peyton's going to get.
I won't say never. Don't say never. There's one thing I think you can honestly say: never say never.
Yes
right?
And no. I mean, do you really see that much potential in Billy Kay?
In a few years, I do.
Yeah, I don't think Billy Kay's that bad. In terms of tag teams, I think it does help the tag team division because you can get back to more true tag teams. I think it's diluting it now because you've already diluted it. If you have a pool of 10 tag teams and then you have 2 titles, you have 5 teams each side that basically are just, it's the same programs over and over and over. Mm-hmm. However, by having one title, and like Andy said, that title, it's you have exclusivity as a tag team to a certain brand, unless you're champions. That gives you the opportunity to float between both. Once you lose, you go back to your brand. It gives the opportunity now to stretch the programming out over the course of a year, as opposed to we're seeing the same feuds over and over. We're watching, Miz and Morrison. How long has this been going on with Otis and Tucker? It's been, they're trying to change it up by having one of them try to steal the Money in the Bank contract, which I think is dumb. Man, they have really flopped the Miz and Morrison tag team, which is a goddamn shame because they are a fantastic team. They always have been. They were one of the best tag teams over the last 15 or 20 years in their run.
Well, they've also flopped Morrison too. I mean, they could have done. Something with him.
What was he going to do, though? No offense to John Morrison, because I'm a big John Morrison guy, but we talk about this all the time, Butters. How many people are we going to push? Everyone wants everyone to be pushed to the title.
I'm not saying push him straight to the title. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that.
Oh, I'm going to.
But where are we going to push him to then? He's in a great tag team. He's in a great tag team. Well, how are they flopping? They're flopping the team, not him.
I prefer him in singles action. I feel like he does better in singles action than he does in tag team action.
So you want the guy who has won world titles since leaving to take steps back. Let's have him compete for a U.S. title that means nothing. They're trying to make something out of the Intercontinental title, and I'm already kind of bored with that at this point. So what are we? I would rather see him have a shot at being at the top of the tag team card than floating around mid card. because now you're seeing the likes of an AJ Styles as your Intercontinental Champion, and you're seeing
here's where I think Butters. I don't mean to cut you off, Chrome.
But let me just finish this point, and then I want you to say that. They're already putting top guys who are world title type contenders and now utilizing them for the mid card. So where does that leave John Morrison? Is he going to job out to all those guys in title matches in the mid card? And guess what? You kill his value that way. Because I'm sorry, I love John Morrison. He ain't AJ Styles. He's not Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy has a hell of a track record. He's not any of these guys. So, and then on top of it, that's supposed to give opportunities to guys like Apollo Crews. So what are we going to do? So then what do we have no opportunities for the young guys to make a name for themselves?
So I'm getting directive from the boss to cut you off. But what I think Butters is trying to say, and because when news broke that John Morrison was coming back to WWE, you and I talked, Chrome. I was super excited for it because I've always loved Morrison. I did kind of fall in love with Morrison more post the original Miz and Morrison, just because that wasn't my kind of humor when I was that young, right? I didn't get it. I didn't like it. So when his first time back in the ring is the Royal Rumble, and Brock Lesnar throws him clean out of the ring, like his first debut back, and he's kind of like, all right, go out there, but fuck off, all at the same time. That was kind of lackluster for his first time back, and thankfully they did put him back with the Miz. So Butters, to your point, right? Don't get me wrong, I loved John Morrison singles run, all the parkour stuff that he did. I loved getting those videos during the day of him training at the arenas, just literally doing parkour all over the place. That was cool, right? But to Chrome's point, this is a man that went from promotion to promotion to promotion. Really didn't have to do a whole lot of reinventing himself. It was just really a name change.
It's the same character.
And took title after title after title after title. WWE is relying on their high caliber, big name, huge merchandise selling individuals to take a title like the Intercontinental title, take it from the obscurity that it has been. I call it post Miz, right? Post Miz IC title means nothing, and they want to bring it back to this pedestal that it should sit on. That it should sit on because it is the only title that WWE has had for the last 50 years that hasn't changed.
Hey, don't jinx it now.
The same, other than the actual belt, it's always been the same. It's always
don't jinx
the
it.
same name.
I'm telling you, man, don't jinx it, because I swear, they'll end up finding a way to get rid of the Intercontinental title and changing it to the. They'll somehow make it the WWE TV Mid-Card Challenge title.
No, that title will never go away.
That's called the U.S. title.
It is called the U.S. That's a good point.
So they're using these names like AJ Styles, world renowned, right? Sells hundreds of thousands of pieces of merchandise a month, right? And that's an exaggeration, maybe, but pretty damn close.
No, it's probably close.
Jeff Hardy, been around for eons, it seems, right? Has done it all, is part of some of the most memorable moments in wrestling history, as far good and bad, right? And you have Sami Zayn, who is a up-and-coming, active, vocal dickhead, right? Taking Morrison and dropping him into this role, he would get swallowed up. Not because he's bad, but because you have such powerful, high-energy individuals in this mid-card spot. So, what do? You have a tag team specialist in John Morrison and a tag team specialist in The Miz. Both had great singles careers, but what's hurting? tag team division. Put these two back together, rekindle that fire that's always been there. Do what we did with the Miz and the Intercontinental title. Miz is the cleanup guy. Miz is the fixer, right? You've got Kenny Omega as the cleaner. Miz is the fixer. He goes in and fixes the divisions that absolutely suck, right? He makes them better. I just switched over to the Miz, but there is no Miz making the tag team division without Morrison. Not in this day and age, because you don't have Jericho. You don't have... No, Miz was never Jericho. It was Miz and Show. You don't have Show. I was thinking Jericho. You don't have Show, right? And that couldn't happen again today, right? It has to be Morrison because they have to be able to entertain themselves without an audience there. And who better than somebody you can be an idiot with, essentially, on camera and laugh about it. They have a damn music video.
It's pretty good, too. I want to get your guys. I want to get your guys' opinion on this because I just kind of something I'm brainstorming now. Just talking to you guys. I mean, the thing too, and this kind of this has to do with Morrison and a lot of guys like him. Everybody wants everyone to get pushed, and this is kind of where the internet the internet era that we're in, the social media era that we're in. It's great to see talent be able to get exposed. Through the internet, through YouTube, guys who compete in different countries and different companies have that ability now to create a brand for themselves. It's great, but people fail to forget. We didn't have that access back in the day, so people remember. Oh, well, the top guys always got those pushes back then, and nobody ever complained about we got to push this guy and we got to push this guy and do this and that. It's a different time and era now. Companies are bigger. You have more guys getting exposed. Like, if you don't think you had this kind of talent in the past, that's just not true. In the territory days, though, it was tape trading and all that. That's how you had to get exposed to it. But now that everybody sees it, everyone says, well, this one deserves to get pushed. Oh, I like what that guy did. He should be there and get pushed. And this guy, too. And this guy, too. Well, I mean, if every person who's ever done anything great in a wrestling ring gets pushed,
everybody's the same.
Then everyone is the same. There's nothing special about them. There's only so many top spots. So are we going to give a guy a top push? And honestly, we've seen it with Becky Lynch when everyone clamored for her, and then all of a sudden everyone kind of started booing her after a while. Are we going to say, okay, you get 1 3-month push and then you're out of the cycle because we have the other 27 people that everyone else wants to get pushed. So we got to circle around and get to all them first. So your next push will probably be like 3, 4, 5 years from now. Like, that's realistically how it sounds to me. Like, okay, so we're just going to start lining them up. We're just going to move them through the factory and push them through on the conveyor belt. And then, now we're going to come around and we're going to start the next layer. Boom. Like, it's ridiculous. And I want to get your guys' opinion on that. It's a different era now. Not everybody can be pushed as a main star. Not everybody. And I also, Andy, great point, because John Morrison there's elements that he reinvented himself in. But the one thing that he didn't reinvent himself, which is so key and important at WWE, and he knows this, is his promo work. His promo work has not improved very much, and I think that having a mouthpiece like Miz can make him special again in a tag team division that absolutely needs tag teams and true tag teams. And they were a true tag team. It's not 2 single stars thrown together. They became single stars, but those are guys who are tag team specialists.
Exactly. So to answer, I guess, your question, right? What do I think about everybody wanting everybody to be pushed to the moon? I think that's what the question was at the core, right? It's 2 words. Social media. We live in a social media age, right? Where I can jump on this phone, right? Shoot a 15-second promo video, right? And it go everywhere because I've created a following, right? It's saying the right things at the right time, posting the right things, and also being able to captivate an audience. Captivate an audience, bring them in, and keep them there. Right? We've seen it. We saw it. And the best example of this is Zack Ryder. Zack Ryder had the ability to make a huge name for himself on the internet, on YouTube, at a time when nobody cared about him. Xavier Woods has been able to stay relevant through up, up, down, down, right? From being off the air, right? James Ellsworth is able to use social media and stay relevant, right?
You had to bring up Ellsworth.
But a video came across my feed like 3 months ago of some like backyard wrestling thing or whatever. It had like 300,000 views because it had Ellsworth's name attached to it. 300,000 people for a guy that got choke slammed time and time again by Braun. I mean, come on. We put a guy over that literally his gimmick was getting his ass whooped for a week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, is it fair? And that was part of the question, but is it fair to say that people have the same mindset and expectations as they did in the 90s in the 2020 era, where it's much different? For us Attitude Era guys, remember how we had at least 6 guys competing or close to the title, but instead we get the same shit and no new workhorse stars for that upcoming star.
He's partially right here. I think Todd's partially right here. Back in the Attitude Era, you had 6 guys, right? You had Austin, The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker, Mankind, right? Kane occasionally, right?
Well, not even Kane, because he had 1 title reign for a day. Big Show, you could throw Big Show in there.
Big Show to make it 6 guys. But these were the 6 guys that the main event scene focused on in some different form or fashion for several years. The reason why that worked is because you had your D'Lo Browns, your Val Venuses, Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit in their early days of WWE, right? You had all these guys that were able to take the Intercontinental title and the European title at the time before we absorbed the WCW's United States title, take these mid-card-ish titles and go with them. Ken Shamrock, who we had on Lazy Booking, which you can check out in the archives at Apple Podcasts, Spotify Speaker, and go check it out on YouTube. Great promo from him at the end, by the way. Right? But you had these guys that were doing great things with a mid-card title, and they were the body of everything. They were the legs that we stood on, the legs that the main event guys stood on, because they would acknowledge that when Triple H would go out and have a match with Spike Dudley, when The Rock does a promo with Eddie Guerrero, when Eddie was still kind of in that mid-card range. Eddie was on the rise, but he was still kind of in that mid-card range. He still had the long hair and was still doing, all the weird little stuff
he had the mullet. He had the mullet.
Right? That was post-China, right before he, lie, cheat, and steal came. Right? So this all circles back to, without a solid mid-card division, no matter if it's the Intercontinental title, the U.S. title, the European title, the AEW TNT title, whatever the hell we're calling that, right?
The 24/7 title?
Not even that. Piss off, right? But without...
What's wrong with the 24/7?
Just call it the R-Truth title and continue to shut up. Without those titles, there is no Universal title, WWE title. They don't mean shit. Right? In my opinion, they don't mean shit without those guys. Because why would I sit through 3 hours of wrestling on a Monday night just to watch the same 6 douchebags go at it? Why? Because I got the energy, that adrenaline from the mid-card guys, right? We talked about it on our SummerSlam fantasy draft show. That opening match had to be fire in order for you to stay involved. That's why we picked great opening matches.
Another great show to check out in the archives, by the way.
Great plug, right? But without that, I'm not sitting through all the wrestling that I've ever watched to watch another Rock and Austin match.
Well, see, I that formula always worked, and I think that it still works. But the problem is the overexposure on television. There's too much programming. I know we all love wrestling, but there's way too much programming.
Oh my God, there's so much.
And that's the problem, is that everything's overexposed now on Raw. But that's also where the hypocrisy comes in terms of the fan base, because...
And Todd, by the way, great comment from Todd.
Yeah, I mean, great. We got a nice conversation out of it. That's absolutely a great comment. But that's where the hypocrisy of the fan base comes in, because everyone clamors about how great the Attitude Era was and how wonderful the main event picture was back then. And they love that it was the same 6 guys all the time, but it's the same people that complain now that you have 6 to 10 guys rotating in the main event picture. And now it's, no, we want this person. Now we want this person. Now we want this person, which shows how over 20 years, how society has changed to where there's a short attention span, the inability to let programs develop. And also WWE, and I blame a lot of this on Bischoff. I say it all the time, and I'm going to say it again. Eric Bischoff forced the hand to overexpose too many pay-per-views. Back in the day, I loved just having 4 pay-per-views. I thought they were great. And then you throw a couple in, like, Tuesday Night in Texas or Clash of the Champions to give a little something extra. But there was too many pay-per-views that forced Vince to start doing one every 12 months. And then it became, let's add extra programs. I love Bischoff, by the way. He's one of my favorite guys. But in terms of... It really is. I am a huge Bischoff guy. I think he was very, very smart in a lot of ways, aside from the business dealings with contracts. I think that's where the downfall came. However, in terms of the overexposure we see now, in terms of the unrealistic expectations and where storyline development has suffered, is a lot of Eric Bischoff trying to push the envelope to top Vince. And I think that that's why we see what we see now, where people don't have the patience to allow a story to develop. We talk about it all the time. Go back to it, Hogan and Andre, that the story that built to that WrestleMania 3. Savage and Hogan, the Mega Powers, the way that story developed over time. There's so many that we can go over history, Hogan and Warrior, in the golden era where everybody loved those programs. Again, go back. Now everyone bitched about Brock Lesnar, because he only defended the title 6 or 7 times a year on a pay-per-view.
Right.
Well, everyone loved back in the day when we had the 4 big pay-per-views, and that was really the only title defenses. An occasional one on like Saturday night's main event. But overall, you didn't have these title defenses every week on Monday Night Raw and every single pay-per-view. That's, again, where Bischoff forced the hand that created the model of professional wrestling that we have now.
So
I think that's the issue.
I think it, and Joey DiBernino, controversy creates cash. I do love it.
Absolutely.
Right. I love Eric Bischoff's 83 Weeks podcast, right?
One of the best ones out there.
And when you listen to him talk about WCW and what he was doing at the time and how he had to treat the company, it does give you such a different aspect on the business, right? He couldn't treat it like a wrestling business. He had to treat it as a TV business, right? So you had to do things differently. Unfortunately, to your point, Chrome, it changed the wrestling business, right? We needed, because we were getting Goldberg and Hogan in the Georgia Dome on free TV on a Monday night, right? But he explains why he did that. Because they're a television company first, right? At least that's how they were viewed as. TBS, everything like that. They viewed WCW as a television entity, right? Not what it was as a professional wrestling entity.
I mean, maybe this is a chance for them. Maybe they should just go back to less pay-per-views.
And I don't know if I would take that, but with the network, it would never happen, right? It defeats the purpose of the network. But real fast, and then we'll go to you guys, right? But take Eric Bischoff's changes, and then the introduction of the internet and everything that has followed. And apparently I love two words all night long tonight. It was social media just a moment ago, and now it's instant gratification. That is our society right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I have within me 4 different ways to grab media right now. I've got one monitor here, one monitor there, an iPad there, and a phone right there. Instant gratification no matter what I want. And I'll leave that to the imagination. But that's our society now.
Here would be my suggestion to fix it. If they stick to the 12 pay-per-view model, they're never going to backtrack off of that. And now they have more because they do special events throughout the year. Now we have NXT takeovers. For me, one way to fix it, let's stagger the titles by pay-per-views. Every other pay-per-view a title gets defended. I'm not saying have brand-specific pay-per-views, intertwine them, but let's mix it up. Let's have, the Universal title defended one, the WWE another, and then WrestleMania and SummerSlam are your 2 pay-per-views where everything comes together.
Love
Good
you,
night,
boss.
brother.
Go Birds.
Go Birds. That's right. Have that be one solution, so at least you have a little bit of time to develop your storylines. And honestly, guys, NXT is not breaking the world. It's not groundbreaking with what it's doing right now on the USA Network. I would be taking NXT and I'd be putting it back on the network, off of network TV, putting it back on the network. Drive people. Now people have seen it. Let's drive people back to the network. And then me, again, I could watch that at my leisure. I don't feel like I have to sit and watch it on Wednesday night all the time or whatever night it's on, Tuesday night now, whatever. That
on the heels of the Iron Man match. Why did you have to take Finn versus Cole to the week after? You have a network. All right, guys, we're going to reset here and, get to the network in the next 10 minutes to see the conclusion of this match.
Big
Why
opportunity.
Doesn't that happen more on paper? Well, pay-per-views are already on the network, but on Raw, on SmackDown, whatever. I mean, it's happened a few times on Raw and SmackDown where go to the network, we're still live, right? The cameras are still rolling.
They got that after show. Well, I don't remember what they called it anymore now, damn it.
But Talking Smack would pick up and kind of stay in the ring until they were set up over off to the side, give people time to come in, right? But it doesn't have to be like that.
They did do that before. They did do that at a couple of years ago, like 3-4 years ago. That they would do that. Monday Night Raw would go off the air, and something would still be going on, and they would say, "Oh, turn over to the network. You could see what's going to happen here," or whatever.
Yep.
Whatever they would say, and that would be something that would drive you to the network.
Have a push notification ready to where when title card goes at the bottom, everybody with notifications, oh shit, they're going live right now on the network. Let me change over to the network. You know what I mean? Because you even do a push like 2 seconds before the title card comes up, right? It's stuff still happening on my TV, but I've got my iPad. Okay, network on. Oh, we went here. Turn TV off, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there are missed opportunities when it comes to their usage of the network. And they could use that so much more. Like, I miss the days of getting like, when Mandy Rose got traded today, there should have been a push notification to my phone from the WWE that went to a break. And I use this just because it's recent, okay? I see you smirking down there, right? Where they go to a breaking news special bulletin, haha, right? of Mandy Rose has been traded. What does this mean for Mandy and Otis? Who will replace her on SmackDown? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. Right? I mean, come on.
Well, first off,
Batman.
First off, they did kind of, I wouldn't call it a push notification, but I mean, it was on all their social media accounts. I mean, it's close enough as a push notification because most people these days, that's all they're on every, 10,
That's
15
fair.
minutes is social media. They're either on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. They're always going to be on something.
Which, by the way, all places you can catch all the shows here on HUD Radio.
Ooh, nice plug.
Thank you.
But like y'all said, we're in a social media era. I mean, it's not going to change unless, God forbid, the internet ever goes down. It's not going to change.
Don't you put that out in the universe. Go
I wouldn't try to put
right now. Turn around 3 times and spit.
Woo, woo, woo.
You know it.
But still, in this era, honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing them go back to separate brand pay-per-views.
Oh, no, because here was the problem there, right? You almost had a SummerSlam payback effect. You would do, like, let's just say a Backlash on the second weekend of the month, and then 2 weeks later, I got to sit through No Mercy. That didn't work. Or they
were doing it once a month. It was when they started trying to push 2 pay-per-views a month.
No, they weren't. There were times they'd have a week or 2 in between the pay-per-views. It was a lot to watch.
You mean like December to Dismember?
No, I'm not talking about that far. That was a terrible pay-per-view.
I'm going to drive to your house and hit you.
Do what?
No, I'm talking about back, like, it was like, what, when did they officially do the brand split? 2 years ago?
2 or 3 years ago.
2 or 3 years ago.
No.
Yeah. No,
they had... Becky
you talking about...
Becky became SmackDown Women's Champion. I got a notification. It was 4 years ago.
14 or 15. I think it was 2000. No, I'm sorry, 16.
Hold on. To the back computer.
You're talking about the second brand split, right?
Well, let's just look. Second brand split was 2016. So I was right, 4 years ago.
All right, 4 years ago. Okay. So 4 years ago, they started running pay-per-views frequently. They were doing more than 12 pay-per-views at that point, and they were starting to run concurrent to where they would have one week and then one the next. They had 1 week in between at one point. They had 2 weeks in between at some points. Then they would add in like NXT TakeOver, which at some points you'd end up getting 3 pay-per-views in 1 month. And listen, I love my wrestling, but there's other things in the world that I need to take my time doing. And, we as the media have a responsibility to watch all of it. And it gets very, very difficult sometimes to do so, particularly when it's sacrificing the quality of the program. And that's something that's been a major issue. And I don't want to see a brand split again. Pay-per-view brand split again, because I think that you will run right back into that problem.
Let's go back to 2004 during the first brand split, right? You had post-WrestleMania, right? You had an event on June 13th for Raw and June 27th for SmackDown. And then Raw was back on the air on pay-per-view 2 weeks later, right? And that happens again in 2005, 2006. And then 2007, we got away from brand splits. Brand splits come back in 2016, right? October had 2 between No Mercy and Hell in a Cell. Again, the summer always had 2 from, post-WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then we stopped
because it was always WrestleMania then Backlash?
Yeah. And then we stopped doing brand specific pay-per-views at 2018. Fastlane was the last brand specific pay-per-view.
So I was right. I was trying to think. It was about 2 years ago when they stopped doing the split pay-per-views.
Yeah, sorry, we thought you meant the actual brand split.
No, I was talking about the split pay-per-views.
Yeah, no, that was 2 years ago, right? It became too much. When you're doing 24, 26, almost 30 events a year, you're essentially putting something on every week because there's only 52 weeks in the damn year.
Hey man,
And then,
I remember when it was only 4, boys.
I don't think
miss
I was
those
born
days.
yet.
and I mean, and now, I mean,
When were you born?
91.
Well, I mean, it stayed that way until about 95 when the first In Your House took place. So
You know, I'm looking.
you were born.
I
You were a
about to
baby
say,
boy.
I
91
mean,
had 5.
on top of that, you got all the house shows to go along with all that. So I mean, you've got a lot.
Yeah, but house shows aren't televised.
What was the fifth? What was the fifth in 95?
In 91, the 5th one was Tuesday in Texas.
Yeah, it's not a pay-per-view. It was like a
It's
special
classified
event.
as a pay-per-view.
Because they do that as of now, but it was a special. It was like calling Clash of the Champions a pay-per-view. It wasn't a pay-per-view. It was a special.
No, I'm on Wikipedia. Cut me a
I
break.
mean, what are we gonna get? What are we gonna get? Another
Reported
Tuesday in
anything
Texas
wrong on
NXT
Wikipedia.
version?
Yeah, 95 went to 1 a month.
It's like calling that. That was on the USA Network, dude. That's like calling Tribute to the Troops a pay-per-view.
No, okay, fair enough.
It was a television, and that was like the same thing. Clash of the Champions. That was always 1 or 2 they would do a year on TBS. It was never a pay-per-view. Now, by today's terms, somebody might have switched that on Wikipedia because it would be considered a special event or a pay-per-view-esque event now.
Yeah.
But that's
Well,
not
not to mention, I mean, how much can you truly trust Wikipedia, boys and girls?
Hey,
well, there's a lot.
for wrestling, it hasn't done me wrong yet.
And WWE went to more than 4 pay-per-views in 95 when In Your House kicked off.
Correct.
So and they would do a couple In Your Houses a year, and then again, that started changing with Eric Bischoff pushing the envelope.
But see, Chrome makes a great point when he says there's too much wrestling on TV, and it's almost like, don't get me wrong, I love my wrestling like Chrome does, like you do, Butters. I could theoretically sit down tomorrow if football wasn't on and watch wrestling from morning to night. I wouldn't watch wrestling for 2 days after, but I would watch wrestling from morning to night.
Well, I mean, you've got right now, it's 4 days a week, I think it is right now, currently,
No,
minus
you
pay-per-views?
can literally watch wrestling every night of the week except for Thursday.
Because I
Monday,
guess I'm missing.
and here, let's run through the hours, right? Monday night, this is just WWE. You have 3 hours of Raw on Monday night, 2 hours of NXT on Wednesday night, and 2 hours of SmackDown on Friday night, right?
And NXT might be switching to Tuesday nights. That's been a hot rumor.
But so there's 3, 5, there's 7 hours.
When does 205 live air?
Right
not 205.
after.
I'm sorry, not 205. Main event.
Doesn't.
Yeah, that's
Then why
that's long.
Oh, I was going to say, then why the hell are they still taping for main event?
So you have 3 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Wednesday, that's 5, and then another 3 hours if you count 205 live on Friday. Now we're at 8. We're not counting AEW's 2 hours, there's 10. Impact's 2 hours, there's 12.
And then think up until recently, Access TV, I mean, they replaced NJPW with it, but NJPW was also on television. Ring of Honor, not that long ago, a couple years ago, had a television deal. That was on television.
And then
again,
AEW's got what? AEW Dark on Tuesday?
I didn't even count that yet.
Listen, I mean, for me, there's WWE through and through. I think that you guys are probably more so along those lines. I try to watch as much as I can.
I try to keep up with the other stuff, but
yeah, I mean, I for all
if something's recommended to me, I watch it.
I watch almost all of it, and I can tell you, just WWE's programming alone is tiresome. It is tiresome. So imagine trying to watch all of it. And I think as wrestling fans, we want to be able to watch other programming. And I'm talking wrestling programming to where, we don't feel like it's a job. And it is. For all intents and purposes, it's like putting work days in throughout the week to get through it.
Putting these shows together, because Chrome, you and I collaborate on both of our shows week in, week out, what we're talking about, so we're trying not to talk about the same thing. But it's like, all right, well, I didn't watch that, so I can't talk about it, and there's no way I'm going to be able to watch it before Thursday, or I didn't watch that because there's no way I'm going to catch it before Saturday. So you talk about this, you talk about this. Damn it, no, we can't do that anymore either, right? And it's a back and forth of what can you talk about, what can't you talk about, because there's just too damn much, and you don't want to talk about the same thing or all of it or none of it at all.
And you really don't want to spoil it for some.
Right, and that's the other thing.
So circle it back. We got way off the rails. Let's circle it back, though. So
we went way down that rabbit hole.
So look at that conversation we just had. Let's bring it back to John Morrison. How can we expect more for this guy in terms of that singles career when there's just only so much opportunity at this point and everybody wants to be pushed? And think about it, guys. Even with all this programming, there's still a ton of talent at the top of the card. It's like if he wants to be the guy, I'm fairly certain WWE would not have been his destination. I think he wanted to come back to WWE for a specific reason and not necessarily to be the main guy, not to be the top guy. I mean, everybody wants to be the top guy, but I feel like he felt like he had something else to contribute at this point, and he can be a top guy in the tag team division. That's where they screwed up. They screwed up that tag team.
That's because Vince hates tag teams, period. But I think he can be by himself. He don't need a title. He can be, he could be a Roddy Piper, a Jimmy Snuka. He could be any of those without needing a title.
So I'll be here when you're done.
You threw out legendary names that can carry a promo and that had evolved, the guys who didn't need to evolve their characters because they were fire from get-go. They sold tickets at the front gates like that. Roddy Piper. I take Snuka out. I don't think Snuka was that big of a deal, to be honest with you. He jumped off a cage once. Cool. He also killed a girl. Whatever. Oh. So I don't even have a conversation about Jimmy Snuka. But you want to go?
I'm just trying to throw names out there that
right.
Didn't need a title, that they could just get off and get going.
But to me, if John Morrison's not going to be in the title picture, I would rather John Morrison be utilized somewhere where he could still have a featured spot. I don't want John Morrison to turn into Dolph Ziggler. And that's my point that I'm combating with your point, is that I think if we're putting Morrison in the main event, John Morrison is not going to go over Roman Reigns. He's not going to go over The Fiend. He's not going to go over Braun Strowman. He's not going to go over AJ Styles. He's not going to go over Seth Rollins. And we can go down the list. So he's going to turn into Dolph Ziggler. And I think John Morrison deserves better than that. And that's not a poor reflection on WWE, that they have all this incredibly talented list of guys and girls. There's only so many spots. So I think what he's doing now, if they can get it right and get rid of the goofy stuff in it, does maximize John Morrison. You know what I'm saying? I think he was Dolph Ziggler before Dolph Ziggler on his last year in WWE.
Yes.
He's a guy that had great high spots, that could work his ass off, could sell with the best of them. He wasn't Dolph in terms of charisma on the mic, but he was a guy who lost the big one to everybody else.
But he was also smarter than Dolph in the sense of leaving when he should have.
But he came back, and he didn't develop the character. So again,
look what he's doing now. Look what Morrison's doing right now. It's Miz and Morrison in a program with Otis to help build Otis.
Do you think it's helping?
Essentially,
Do you think they're really trying to help build Otis? Or do you think they're trying to somehow get that contract off of Otis onto Miz, Morrison, or anybody else
no,
for
I
that
think
matter?
the contract stays on Otis. I in my heart of hearts, I think it's just because I'm fluffy, right? I'm pulling for the big guy here, right? I don't
get what you're saying.
I don't ever see Otis cashing in. I know we joke about it all the time because it gets Chrome fired up.
I can see him cash it in. It's a matter of
I don't see him.
He's not going to lose. I mean, not lose. I'm sorry. He's not going to win. He's going to cash it in. That's not a here or there. And honestly, he could, for all we know, he could magically cash in on the tag titles for him and Tucker. Because does it really say it has to be a world title shot?
Pretty sure it does. So if you were,
I'm because I thought it said it was just for a title shot in general.
I don't know. I don't see the damn legality paperwork on it, right?
Well,
but
let me add. God,
because I thought it was just for a future title shot in general.
Hear me out, though. Okay.
Okay.
Whether he keeps the contract, he doesn't keep the contract, right? He cashes it in, doesn't cash it in. I don't give a shit, right? At the end of the day, Otis is going to be the breakout star, and they're helping. I think Chrome, I see the face, but in compared to Tucker, and don't get me wrong, I was a Tucker guy before I was an Otis guy because I don't remember the exact event it was, but I was watching an event and Tucker cuts a promo, goes out to the ring, and completely obliterates everybody in this tag match. And I was like, I like that guy, right? I'm all for that guy. But the stuff that Otis has been doing, it's kind of put Tucker in the background. But I see everything playing out to where it benefits Otis in some way, shape, or form. I don't think this is going to be a bad thing for him. I think if he gets the rub from guys like Miz and Morrison, whether it's Otis individually or it's Heavy Machinery as a whole, them getting this rub from these two guys is great. And I think this is what, to your point, and it's a kind of a long-winded way of saying it, to your point, Chrome, Morrison didn't come back to be the top guy of the tag team division. I don't think he did that. That's probably in the conversation. But I think he came back to help Miz elevate the tag team division in a whole, right? In a long sense of the word, he came back to help put young guys over. And where do you go to do that? You go to what you know best. And what Morrison's best work in WWE was as a tag team.
Riddle me this. You like the Joker. You love all that
Riddler.
stuff. So, well, whatever. But it's still Batman. That's the fucking point.
Fair point.
So, riddle me this, okay?
All right, Jim.
Here's my theory, boys. I think it's fair to say that WWE put the money in the bank in Otis's hands because it was the flavor of the month. It was the hot thing going, and it has fizzled out big time. I don't believe for 1 second that Otis will cash in the money in the bank. I absolutely think along the lines of with Butters in that somehow, some way, before the cash in, they will now find, since that's fizzling out, and honestly, Mandy Rose moving to me is an even stronger indication of this. I believe that Otis will somehow lose his money in the bank and they will give it to somebody else. And honestly, guys, I think it could be brilliant. If you can find the right person, you could build an instant top heel by having that person be the guy to take away the common man's hero, Otis's opportunity.
So it's funny that you bring up Mandy Rose, the Mandy Rose move, because as I'm putting the show together and I'm reading over SmackDown results and things like that, on paper, right, and how Miz calls in a favor, and then the next day we see that Mandy's been traded, and then did you see Mandy's Instagram?
You mean her mile-long post?
It wasn't a mile-long
I didn't.
post. She
No, I
writes,
didn't see it.
this is in response to her being sent to Raw. She goes, "You dirty bastard. 3 weeks. It took 3 weeks to find out why I wasn't on SmackDown. And of course, it's because of you, Mike. I had a career moment at SummerSlam to not be on SmackDown, and you just drop it on Talking Smack like it's nothing. You affect my career and my time so you could try to stop Otis from succeeding. This is how you use your pull? Wow. If I'm going to Raw, that's great. I'll do bigger and better things on Mondays than I've ever done on Fridays. Oh, and if you think you're going to split Otis and I up, think again, Miz. There are 7 days a week, and me and Mr. Money in the Bank are as tight as ever." So I think this is all just a play into it.
It could be, but I still think he drops. I still think he drops that case before he ever cashes it in.
I kind of hope he doesn't, only in the sense of everybody shits on Baron Corbin for losing the case, right?
Well, that's Corbin.
But Corbin wasn't like that beforehand. Yeah, he wasn't liked. Don't get me wrong, right? Nobody was a huge fan of him, but he wasn't an absolute pain in the ass joke.
I mean, he did introduce your favorite stipulation to a match.
I'll kick you out of the stream. I have that power now.
Somebody take away his power.
Nope. Too late. But no, I don't want to see it because I like Otis. I like what he does. You know, I think he's entertaining as all hell. I don't want to see him get the short end of the stick. I don't see him beating anybody in the main event picture right now.
No.
Right? Unless, no, I still don't see him beating Drew. Right? But that's your
maybe.
That's your like long drawn out reach. Oh my God, I need Mr. Fantastic arms to get there.
I mean, who says he's got to? Who says he's got to beat Drew? What if he beats the person who beat Drew, or what if he beats the person who beat Roman?
Oh, so you're saying have him beat Randy?
Well, no, he can only go against Roman because his Money in the Bank contract is exclusive to the brand that they're on.
Correct.
So he can't go over to Raw.
So
he can't go over to Raw, and he can't cash it in on Drew.
Actually,
I guess
it's no. Light bulb here.
Uh-oh.
There's the loophole. No. Miz says there's always a loophole to things. What if they get Otis drafted to Raw, but he can't cash in because he was on SmackDown when he won the briefcase?
He would still be able to cash it in on SmackDown. You can't take it off of him because he got drafted elsewhere. He officially has a year to cash that in on the SmackDown title.
Now, Butters wants to bring up loopholes, right? It's going around. It's made its round through the internet wrestling community that WWE used the contract from 2015, and that's the one that Otis has, and that's the one that he shows on air this past Friday night. What if that's the dumb loophole? You have the wrong contract, so you're not Mr. Money in the Bank anymore.
And that would be a stupid thing on WWE's part. That makes no sense.
Do you see them? Could you see them doing it though?
No. And
Actually,
if they did
I
it, that'd be one of the worst storylines that's ever been done. And I might be done. I will tell you what, if that's the direction it goes, I will never watch wrestling again. It's on the air right now. Mark.
Well,
you also said that if Otis cashes in and wins the title, you're never watching wrestling again.
And I agree with that too. I didn't change.
Hey, now who's to say that somebody else doesn't have that paper? That they just gave him one that says 2015. They took his actual paper, slipped in the a fake one, and he's not realizing that he's got a fake one. That would
be a huge swerve if Tucker did it,
or Mandy.
You're stupid.
Why am I stupid?
No,
well then WWE is really getting pathetic and desperate if that's what the type of stuff that they're pulling, because anybody knows that a contract is a contract. It is binding. It can't be broken.
And they said it's non-transferable.
Contract. Exactly. That is his contract. So nobody can steal his contract and cash it in. He can lose it in a match. He can offer it up in a match, and then that becomes, if that is agreed upon and the other person wins, then that's the thing. That's the loophole. That's the way that
But-
it's transferable. But in actuality, like all these theories are ridiculous. And if that's something they do, that's just a really pathetic storyline. It's terrible.
I was going to say, it's WWE, and they could end up doing something like that. You know, they
Well,
always
they
change.
did have Roman sign a contract after a match started, so I guess it isn't impossible.
I was going to say, they change their minds. They change their minds every week. Vince can't keep his mind, he can't keep a script until 5 minutes before the show starts. I mean, seriously. So they can change their mind anytime they want as to, this is non-transferable. You know what? Screw it. This week is transferable.
But we got pretty off the rails. We talked about Mandy Rose and her traded SmackDown into Raw. That does bring up a question though. Who goes from Raw to SmackDown? It's a trade, right? They're using the dialogue trade, right? I know probably none of us really overly care. But
Maybe they're
one name. Who's the one name?
No, you don't have to. You don't have to because they're using their leftover free picks.
But that hasn't been outlined. They said traded to Raw.
But using a pick that's still considered a trade in general.
Look, we hated
Is it not?
We hated that part when it happened, right? You and I both hated it. You and I both thought it was dumb. So just
I know.
give me a name. Just give me a name. Humor.
Billy Kay.
I love how you both go iconic. So that's what
I mean.
I love that.
I mean, it makes the most sense to me. So I mean, I don't know who else you would move.
As they say, get them both off the show. This way, they're both split up. As sad as it is to say, you split them up and you see what they do.
It's equal value.
It's flop or do good. I mean, hell, who's to say? Vince pushes Peyton to the moon, she flops, and then Billy Kay, her stock rises.
Man, you really got a lot invested in Billy Kay, don't you?
I kind of like Billy Kay over Peyton. So
really?
sue me.
Okay. See, I see Peyton staying on Raw. With this whole thing with Bayley and Sasha happening and the title being in that picture.
Hence why I said Billy Kay.
Unless Nikki takes the title off of Bayley at Clash of Champions.
I think that's going to happen because I think Sasha's going to screw Bayley.
I think so too, right? Then I could see Peyton coming over.
Feuding with Nikki?
Feuding with Nikki. Right?
Yeah, I mean, to me, one of the Iconics is about equal value to Mandy. So,
yeah, might as well bring it up. We don't talk a lot of AEW here. We've dabbled in them a little bit more tonight than I think we ever have. But the best man showed up on AEW. Miro is there.
I hate the hairdo. Dear Lord, that bleach blonde hair. I thought he had shaved all his hair. I thought he was bald. Come to find out it's bleach.
Being bald?
Nothing. I'm saying that bleach blonde hair makes him look stupid. Along with his $6,000 Gucci outfit.
Listen. I loved everything about it. I like his look. I like his promo. And
his promo was good. I'll give him that much. His promo was damn good.
This is a guy that WWE missed the boat on big time, multiple times. I was in New Orleans on Bourbon Street for WrestleMania 34, and all you heard until 5 a.m. that entire weekend was Rusev Day chants.
Dude, you would walk down, and Chrome, you hit the nail on the head with Bourbon Street. My buddy Silent Hill had Happy Rusev Day shirt. He'd be walking down, and people were stopping this man in the middle of the street to shake his hand and go, "Hey, man, Happy Rusev Day," and then walk the hell away.
Yep.
It was the craziest damn thing I've ever seen.
It is not a hot take to say, and I'm 100% on with this. In terms of how over Rusev Day was, particularly at that time, it was on the same level as the Yes Movement around WrestleMania 30. And I didn't go to WrestleMania 30 in New Orleans, but I can tell you my friends that went to both who said the Yes chants on Bourbon Street and the Rusev Day chants on Bourbon Street were neck and neck for the entire weekend for the experience. I'm telling you, it was so over, such a missed opportunity by them. And the thing that's messed up, too, is he got in such phenomenal shape. Such phenomenal shape that last year and a half or 2 years where I just that's one of the ones I can't forgive WWE for missing the boat on. And I think that he is we go through all the time, right, guys, about, AEW picking up mid-card talent of WWE or guys who couldn't get over and this and that. This is a guy, though, this is a big get for AEW. This is a real big AEW get for them.
Now, are we going to see Vince being that spiteful to his wife?
I mean, at this point, she's trying to work her way out anyway.
I was going to say after that after that promo he cut, the fact that he's now in AEW, is he going to be super spiteful and just say screw it and just throw her to the wolves and just let her, flounder?
She's on television, so. By the way, guys, this isn't the first time that Rusev has shit on WWE. He's talked some shit since he's left.
Yeah, and on his Twitch.
And Vince turned around and put her on TV. So
yeah, I don't think it's.
I guess I don't really follow his Twitch then.
No, I don't either. I get reports from other people. I've got minions. The
only thing I've actually heard about him is him doing an interview talking about how Vince said that the fans weren't cheering for him with Rusev Day. They were making fun of him, which is why Rusev Day never got over.
Please see Todd Womack's comment. And that is why I don't think a damn soul made fun of him.
I don't either. I thought it was all legit true. Everybody wanted Rusev Day.
I don't think Lana suffers at all from this. I think what they're doing right now with her and Natalya, I think it's going to ultimately end up benefiting Lana because Natalya, again, we talk about people elevating this young, struggling talent. As much as certain individuals on this show are not fans of Natalya, you cannot argue the fact that she's a good...
Who? Really? Really? How can you not be a fan of Natty?
Because I'm over Cat Lady.
Okay, I can get behind the cat ears. Okay, I can get behind being over the cat ears.
Let me see you do a show with cat ears, and then I'll listen to you rant about how great Natalya is.
Don't put that out in the universe
but
either.
Until that day happens, I don't want to hear about
it. Damn it.
And I am not a Natalya hater because I love Natalya and her contributions. But it's
too late.
Bad at this point. It is bad at this point.
I will try to find me some electronic cat ears and start fucking with you.
Let her go. Honestly, I'm at the point they could use her. Let her go to AEW at this point and be a top star. But I'm over it. To me, this whole thing is cheesy as hell with Lana. It's terrible. It's not believable and I think
what are they trying to go like some sort of? They trying to go some blonde bombshells thing going on here? Don't
get me wrong, it's not believable, but the stuff that you see on social media with her training with TJ and everything like that, Lana actually training with TJ, I think that's where the benefit comes from, right? It's the stuff you don't see behind the scenes.
You mean like with Ava Marie before she bombed out?
Who?
Exactly.
No, say it again.
Ava Marie?
Eva Marie, you idiot.
Eva, Uva, I don't care. Agua, who cares?
Prism just jumped onto the hate for cat ears is strong. So many questions.
Go back and watch. You'll learn.
God, I love Prism.
Now we just need a picture of Chrome with some cat ears.
Never gonna happen.
Yes, it will.
Anyway,
no, but Jesus Christ,
it was a good debut for Miro. I will give it that.
I think it was great.
It was a surprise nobody was expecting. I feel like AEW. I think every year, post All Out's going to be like the post WrestleMania show.
But here's the thing. Here's the only thing I don't like about it, and maybe it's just because I don't follow the product long enough for me to care. I don't like him being called the best man.
I think it's only long enough for the
I
two
think
to
it goes
have their
back to our
wedding.
factions conversation. Our factions, our groups, whatever, the league that is AEW, right? Let him stand on his own. Let him come out.
I think I followed it enough that it's the two are getting married. That's his best man, so they'll probably just form a quick tag team and be done with.
Thank you, Todd.
Yep.
Nat is done. Fuck those cat ears, but her sister can get it. That's hilarious.
Todd hits the nail on the head. Yep.
Her sister looks a lot better than she does.
I'm an Instagram follower.
I do disagree, by the way. I do think the best man is going to be his gimmick. I don't have a problem with it. To me, that's neither here nor there. But I think this is going to be really big for AEW, a huge get. I agree with you that the night after All Out should be like their Raw after WrestleMania. What I will say here, what I would have loved to have seen is a crowd for this. I think this is one of the few.
They had a crowd. They had
an arena full of people. When he showed up, the roof would have blown off that place.
100%.
And when he
at least he got some kind of pop.
And I agreed.
When he came out through that tunnel, it gave me them old Impact tunnel vibes.
Yeah, the camera angles they did.
Yes.
But see, I like those. I like
do
those
too.
in the tunnel, watching them walk out. That's cool.
Yeah, I do like that too.
And then, of course, you get the pop. But like you said, it would have been a lot better with a full crowd because here he comes out of that tunnel and everybody they're shitting themselves. It's Rusev. Oh my God. Now he's calling himself Miro. Oh my God.
Well, and then the next night, I think it's like the next night, he's sitting front row at a playoff game for the NBA. Him and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus.
Yes.
But on that night, I think it was 2 different games. They were all in the crowd, and they all got recognized by TNT as AEW wrestlers.
It's TNT, of course.
Right.
They're going to promote their show, man. They got to get them millions of dollars. I mean, this is what? The first week they had over 1 million views?
Yes.
I mean, I know a lot of us, we talk about views or, the whole ratings thing, but, I'll give them that much. They got over 1 million. About damn time.
What do we think of Cedric Alexander finally turning heel?
Interesting. I mean, it's another person to join. It's another person to join the Hurt Locker or Hurt Business, whatever you want to call it.
Hurt Locker was a movie. Moving on.
It's a slip of the butter.
It's not bad. They're okay. I just think it's. I mean, I get it. It's kind of underwhelming to me because I think it was so telegraphed to get to that point. However, I do think it's. I do like the faction a lot. I liked it the first time around when it was called the Beatdown Clan in Impact. I think it's pretty good.
Do we see eventually all the titles being held at least even for a month or so with that whole group since there's enough people there? Do you think they'll end up doing that at one point?
No.
Nah, I don't think it's that strong of a faction. I would really like to see Bobby Lashley get a world title run, though. I really would like to see Bobby Lashley get a title run. I honestly think he should be the guy to beat Drew.
He was good in TNA with his world title run. So, I mean,
You
He
mean
should
when he held every title imaginable?
He should be the guy to beat Drew. 100% in my eyes.
Yep.
I'd say let's talk about the 83 kendo stick shots that Buddy Murphy took.
Rey
That was
Mysterio's
fun.
wife, she made me laugh so hard because she looked like she did not want to do it at all.
No, she flat out says, go back and rewatch it. She flat out says, no, I'm not doing this. And Ray's like, he did this to me. Because you see him pointing at the eye. I'm like, you can't hear Ray, but you can hear Angie. It's like, are you trying to tell her to get vengeance for your eye? Are you okay?
He lost an eye, man.
But then the daughter's just like, all right, hey, bada, swing.
Right? It was a good match. I will say that much. The slide out into the table's powerbomb
That
spot
was fantastic.
Dominic's a very good worker.
I wish they had a different camera angle of that, though.
Well, I rewound that spot over and over because, like, the timing on that was just, like, almost perfect. It looked so good. I was like, the first time I seen it, I'm like, rewind. Okay, rewind. I probably rewound it like 20 times.
I just watched it again. It's a GIF on Ringside News.
Well, I think it's fair to say, guys, we talked about it before he made his main roster debut, and is it right to put Dominic on the main roster, right off the bat? And maybe he did get that notoriety because he was Ray's son, but clearly he's well trained. I think he's been a fantastic worker, and you know what? We talked about it a month ago. Kid stepped in the ring and paid his dues and showed how tough he is by him taking those kendo sticks to start.
Yep.
And I think that he has looked. Yes, they have, Todd. They have definitely dropped the ball on Lash. Although I like what they've done with them over the last 6 months. I have to say for Lashley, but I'm getting back to Dominic and everything. I really enjoyed this segment a lot. When are we going to get to the end of this? When are we going to get to the end?
Well, it's not going to be this week because it's Seth versus Dominic inside a steel cage.
Right.
Hey, I did like this.
Overkill in a program.
Yep.
I did like the spot where his arms are wrapped up and both mom and sister like simultaneously just jump up and
that leads into the sunset flip powerbomb.
Yeah. Like I was like how much did they practice that spot to just both of them just like split second simultaneously up and out?
I'm sure they did it a few times, right? I don't care about the mystery woman. We all know it's Carmella.
Yeah. They caught her with a tattoo.
If you guys missed it, over on Lazy Booking this
what I must have missed that when I was watching it. Maybe I don't know where.
You got to go back. Like I missed it the first time too. You got to go back and watch it a couple of times. On her, I think it's her right arm. There's a tattoo that she.
Where was this mystery woman though? I didn't even notice that.
SmackDown. They've been airing vignettes of a mystery woman coming to SmackDown. The first one was from the legs up to about the waist,
and everybody said it was Eva Marie.
The second one, it's almost a full body, except she's turned around. And it looks like she's wearing a blonde wig. And it looks like they've been kind of editing putting makeup on or something. And I guess they missed her tattoo on her arm because it's the same tattoo as on Carmella's left, I guess, right in here. Her little hummingbird tattoo.
I guess I'll have to run it back. I don't know. I didn't even see the vignette, so I don't know where I missed it.
Some people say that could just be a whole ruse, just like the whole retribution thing where they can change out superstars every week and you don't know. Yeah. It could just be let's just put Carmella in this spot this week. Let's put somebody else in this spot this week. We can shake it up however we want it.
Joey.
I miss Maurice though.
I miss the hell out of Maurice, but Joey. No, sir. No.
You know what? I did have somebody today. We talked about it. Rob at the shop. He thinks maybe it could be Tessa Blanchard.
Dude,
Wouldn't mind it.
if they manage to pull that off and not a lick of, anything got out that it was Tessa, that's the biggest grab they could have gotten and the best kept secret of 2020.
I mean, she is wrestling for another event, right now. But I mean, like you said, if they could keep that a secret, amazing.
That would.
I think about Tessa in WWE, and I get really excited because when you can look at the programs that she could have, I mean, the obvious would be Charlotte. A Blanchard versus a Flair is huge. This Bailey heel character, the promos would be amazing. Asuka, I would love to see her work in ring with Asuka at this point. Rhea Ripley, Io Shirai, Tegan Nox, Dakota Kai. I mean, the list goes on of women that she could have a really great program with. Right? Mercedes Martinez is another one. I'm really big on Mercedes.
And then what about a possible? I know Vince wouldn't go for it, but maybe a world title run like she did with Impact.
Like a men's title?
Yeah. No.
I don't think Vince is there yet.
China-esque. Let's, even if it's a mid-card title,
I don't think Vince is there yet.
Okay.
I don't see Vince allowing that to happen. I don't see the company allowing that to happen. I don't see the shareholders allowing that to happen.
Because that was part of the her draw with TNA because of all the work she did up to that point. So I figured why not ask the question?
It'll be clear. It'll be talked about. People will want it because that's the wrestling community. I think if she showed up in WWE, the conversation would be had by people in the internet wrestling community. I guarantee you, they're not smart people. Smart people.
I don't think it would, and I think WWE's programming is different, guys. I mean, are they pushing the envelope on a few things? Yeah, sure. They're back to rated TV 14 and that kind of stuff. But a big, and occasionally you do see physicality between a man and a woman. We saw it with Alexa and The Fiend recently. We saw it, last year at Extreme Rules with Baron Corbin taking a shot at Becky. However, that is not something that WWE is on board with. What was it? Something they did in the late '90s during the Attitude Era? Yes, it was. Different world then, a lot edgier. But WWE is a publicly traded company that, the whole be a star and all that stuff going right now. Presenting the physicality of men and women on a weekly basis amongst each other is just not a road WWE is going to go down.
To Todd's point, real quick, him wanting her in AEW, I don't think there's enough women in AEW for her to have those matches.
I don't want her in AEW because AEW doesn't know what to do with a women's division. Like WWE doesn't know what to do with a tag team division. AEW doesn't know what to do with a women's division.
Yeah, Tessa, to me, first of all, you're right, guys. AEW has a terrible, terrible, terrible women's division. I like Sheeta a lot. Britt Baker is I
like Britt Baker as a character.
Great character. Good in the ring. I'll say good. Still a lot of work that she could do. Big Swole is okay, but I see a lot of botches with these women. And, they have, what's her name right now from NWA?
Thunder Rosa?
Thunder Rosa.
Holy shit.
That could be temporary. We don't know how long that's going to be. I mean, Evilise is working there right now.
Yeah,
she's a great talent.
I think Thunder Rosa is just I think they were able to work something out between the two companies.
Well, she's defending the NWA title on Dynamite this week. So there is a joint working relationship, it seems, with them.
That's because she did go after the AEW at All Out, women's title at All Out. So, I mean, makes sense for her to defend it.
Yeah, I don't know, guy. I don't see the opportunity there. I think Tessa has a big ego. We all know that.
Yep.
But I also think that she wants to have top main like she wants to have matches that people are going to talk about. Right, big names to go against.
She wants those main event matches. She wants those big main event matches.
She's competed against all these people. She's competed against Eva Lee's and Thunder Rosa. I don't know if she ever has with Sheeta. She's never had these matches with bad. I mean, remind me who she faced in the Classic. Was it Mia Yim?
I believe it was.
I know she was in the Mae Young Classic. Had a great match with me. If it was Mia Yim, I think it was Mia Yim.
Kairi Sane and Mia Yim.
Right. Okay. Great matches with them. Kairi's not around anymore. We've seen Mia Yim. They were great matches.
Wait, no, that wasn't in the. No. It was Kairi Tessa in the first round of the Tessa Blanchard Yim thing was not a WWE event.
Okay, so Kairi defeated her. Right, first round. She lost that match in a great match. I remember that match.
She's also wrestled against. She won a match against Alexa Bliss. She lost a match to Nia, and she lost a match to Carmella in 2016.
Right. And then that, I mean, I don't count that at that point. You know, she wasn't on that level yet. But I look at her now. You look at all the matches that she could have with top talent, with the way that she can cut a promo now and the way that she can work. Guys, I'm telling you, she could tear the house down. Those women's matches could be the highlight of big cards.
And a potential, you know, if Becky Lynch returns, I mean, a match between those two would be just
absolutely. But guys, we're gonna put a pin in this Tessa Blanchard conversation. For more on this, go to the Lazy Booking page. Chrome posted a picture earlier today of where you think Tessa Blanchard will land. You can also find that post in the Ultimate Wrestling Fanatics, the #1 spot for wrestling fans on Facebook. All right, guys, we got about 10 minutes left in the show. I want to real quick talk about our thoughts on, and it's going to be really, I said, real quick. Gerald Briscoe no longer with the WWE after 30-plus years. Mike Rotunda also gone.
I mean, it's a loss for these talents because, especially Briscoe, I mean, he's, you know, all these talents have come out and stated, you know, he was a guiding light for all of them. And so, I mean,
I think it sucks, but Chrome and I talked that morning, and we were like, he's still with the company? Right? We didn't realize he was still there.
Backstage producer.
Youth must be served. It falls everywhere. It's in all the professional fields. It's in professional sports. At some point, youth must be served. He can still be an advisor, which he said he's still going to be doing, but he doesn't need to be at events all the time at this point. And I'm sorry, but I would rather see when things open up, because at some point they will start bringing producers back when there's more events to have them do that. Because one of the big things these producers do, guys, is they work these live events, and they do a lot of the booking at that, and that's where they can really work with the talent too. We don't have that. That's why Kurt Angle's not there right now, and he's furloughed.
Correct.
So but that's another guy. Would you rather bring Jerry Briscoe back, or would you rather give Kurt Angle an opportunity to come back and work with young talent?
You bring Angle back, absolutely.
So I think that's the point, guys. I mean, Mike Rotunda, another guy. I mean, he's younger than Briscoe, but at some point, youth must be served, and you need to have people. And I know that I think a lot of people respect these guys for what they've done, and they will listen to them because they have generations upon generations of experience. But I really believe that they will connect with someone like a Kurt Angle, like that level of guys who are a little bit younger, still older, but a little bit younger, that have been in those trenches, honestly, during eras that they're kind of in now. Because it is very different talking about, hey, this is what we did back in the 60s and 70s, as opposed to, I just retired a couple years ago.
Todd saying thank you. I don't see him understanding young talent. And I think, Chrome, that ties directly into your point. Last thing I want to bring up, we know, and we're going to talk about it more next week on our Night of Champions preview show. But Roman Reigns, Jey Uso for the Universal title. Roman hasn't been starting matches. He's been coming out halfway through. He's been coming out.
The gimmicks. Show up and win.
Right? How is he going to do that in his first true singles match? Granted, it's against family. Is that why it's against family? Is because of you kind of know, and with everything going on in the world of COVID and his young daughters and his leukemia, is it minimizing the risk of exposure?
Could be.
Or is it just heel tactic? And how is that going to play out in his first singles match since being back?
I mean, I could see next week is where he actually gets his hands dirty on Jay. Just turn straight on Jay. Yes, it's all about family, but then next week just slaughter him right before the go home.
Chrome?
I think there's a couple of factors that can tie into it. I've read some interesting articles about it over the last few days. There's speculation that on an occasion when there's not really a full program put into place, WWE will allow the talent to somewhat, quote unquote, handpick their opponent for a certain pay-per-view, particularly if it's a one-off. And that Roman in his returning program may have made it a point that coming back, he wanted to work with Jay to start. Also giving Jay an opportunity who's been doing nothing since his brother is out with a major injury. And I do think there's a familiarity there. And also, guys, it's a great way to get yourself over as a huge heel by screwing your family over.
Yep.
I mean, let's be realistic, right? Hey, I kicked your ass when we were younger. And hey, by the way, here, I'm going to throw you this breadcrumb here, but then I'm going to put my thumb and push you back down again, just so you know I'm the king. I'm the, what's he say? I'm the, this is
Big
my
dog.
island. No, not the big dog.
The island
I'm
thing
the
I like.
I like it a lot.
It calls back to the Samoan heritage.
Of course, I love it. I like it a lot too. I just think it makes a lot of sense, and I have no problem with it. It's different.
Mm-hmm.
Having Jey Uso in there, and the dude can work his ass off. I thought he was great in that Fatal Four-Way.
Yep, absolutely.
And still some of that goofy Uso promo stuff with some of his cheesy lines talking about like something, them being like diapers or shit on them or something. I don't remember what that was, but I like it. I think it's fine. I think it'll be a really good match too.
I'm super excited for it. But more on that next week, guys. Great show tonight, boys. Chrome, we thank you for joining us. As always, you always have a spot here. Guys, make sure you check out Chrome on Tuesday night, his regularly scheduled Lazy Booking. As they recap.
Nope.
Not Lazy Booking. I said Lazy Booking, didn't I? I meant Birds of a Feather. Yeah, I definitely meant Birds of a Feather. Yeah. Anywho, check out Birds of a Feather Tuesday night as they recap Eagles Washington from tomorrow. Sports Hounds will be on Monday. We got the Fix in the PM on Wednesday. Lazy Booking back at their regularly scheduled time on Thursday, followed up by those chuckleheads at the Hockey Happy Hour.
Niche night
on the road to victory Friday night, and then you get the triple whammy, kicking it stateside, weekly roundup, and in this very ring right here next Saturday night. Guys, go Birds tomorrow. Make sure you check out Doc Paul Vidal and Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, Burlington, Cherry Hill, and Princeton, New Jersey. Michael Ambrose and Ambuck Services, 856-879-5530. Guys, get them out before it gets cold. Butters, Chrome, we're going to get out of here. Okay? Like I said, guys, go Birds. We'll be here next week for our In This Very Ring. What is next week? Clash of Champions preview show.
You just said it too.
I am exhausted. It's been a week. And we will see you guys on the other side. Peace.